Welcome back to the Sharon Fitzmaurice podcast, where we celebrate the resilience of the human spirit. I have a wonderful guest today, Patrick Dempsey, a spiritual awakened soul on a journey from his head to his heart. I think we all are, Patrick, known as the peaceful spiritual warrior in the world of social media, a spiritual alchemist, shamanic practitioner, spiritual channel, intuitive medium, Rahani celestial healing teacher and practitioner. Patrick, you are so very welcome.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And it's an absolute honor to be speaking with you and to share my story and to be on your beautiful podcast. Yeah, I'm so privileged and it's just a joy to speak with you and yeah, just share as best as I can. I mean, even if I can help one person with my story, then I would be so pleased. But thank you for a beautiful introduction. Wow. So
Oh,
I
you're
must keep that
lovely.
one.
And you know what it is? And I always say that sometimes it's to hear somebody else introducing us and the work that we do. It's a beautiful
Mm,
reminder to ourselves of where we are now. And as we were talking
brilliant.
before we pressed record, we've been through the tough times, and you can never imagine that you'd be in a place where you
Oh,
say, life is good, what I'm doing is good. I know there's much more out there for me. And it's a
mm.
lovely, lovely reminder. And I think it's something everyone should do when they're feeling good, is to look at where they are now, but also reminding themselves what they've come through. Because as we said on this podcast and in our lives, we're celebrating resilience.
Yeah.
We go to a part of your life, Patrick, that you have lived with all of your life.
Mm,
And it's something that people may not know about you when they meet you at an event or they see you out in public, and they
mm.
may have no idea what Patrick has actually gone through. So, would you like to tell our listeners more
Yeah.
about you and your story?
Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, I'll try my best. I was born in the 70s, born in Cork, reared in Donegal, Letterkenny. Um, yeah, I've come from a family of six boys. So I'm the second eldest. I lost my brother to cystic fibrosis when he was 11. I was at 10. Um, I think that changed the dynamics of my family and myself very deeply. And I think that's why I call myself, well, I know the peaceful spiritual warrior that I call myself in the spiritual world actually came to me in meditation through the dragons. There's actually an orange dragon called the peaceful spiritual warrior with Archangel Metatron. So that aligned with me. But I think Um, my relationship with God and all that is around me, through my brother, especially at the age of 10, even at that time, I always knew there was something more than the physical because I felt my brother around me at that time. Um, and I guess as I got older, I realized, okay, there's something about this that yes, I went through a lot with cystic fibrosis, and I'm very blessed to be here because I had a double lung transplant in 2012. And my family, I say this to people that have won the lotto twice. There's two of us that had a transplant in my family and one that couldn't. So I for a long time, Sharon, lived my life for my brother. Because he never experienced school as much as I did, the sport that I played in, university, college, everything that I experienced for the first time in my own life, I always thought of my brother. Um, so it's really nice now with the spiritual work that I do that he's a huge part of me still. And I've seen him in meditations, I've seen him with Mother Mary and Jeshua. Like it's just, in one way, we're really close now. And it is a real thing to know that you're never alone. And when you have that awareness, I don't, people may call it a gift, but I think it's an awareness that everybody can really tune into. And I say this with kindness. I think when you do lose someone close, very close to you, whether it be even an animal as well, the same, that you do feel that energy around you, that there is something like you have that essence, that feeling, that spirit around you. And yeah, that's what I align with in my spiritual work. But yeah, look, I think my life has been challenging in a way for sure, but um, it has taught me an awful lot at the time, as we've spoken before this morning, that it's really nice to have common and that your story can help somebody else and help them, give them the strength to walk that extra step, and that extra step can be a huge thing. And I know that myself, especially waiting for the transplant. I was 4 years waiting for the transplant. Um, and I'm a very stubborn person, Sharon. A lot of people may think that they don't really see that side of me. They don't really. That's kind of private to me. My family definitely know it was quite stubborn. But it's a really nice quality to have because, well, for me, it allowed me to keep going. And I have to lean on that today, Sharon. Sometimes I have to believe stronger in myself. That stubbornness allows me to believe in myself more. And it is a strength that I have to lean on all the time, even with everything I've gone through. It's just like getting up in the morning. You know how to get up, but you have to remind yourself to put your 2 feet in the ground, and that's quite. Especially after the transplant, like every time I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I think is gratitude for a new day. And yeah, so don't know where to start, Sharon. I mean, I guess publicly I have had an amazing life, and that's not even over yet. I really feel I still feel I'm in. I would say I'm just going through primary school. So, primary school in the spiritual world in that life. There's so much more to adventure in. And then human Patrick that people know me from the corporate world and life in general, see me on the street. Yeah, I haven't mixed as well as I used to. Um, but people still are able to reach out to me whenever they want. People still know me. People still see me. But I think my life experiences have definitely changed me in a way to be more, I think, more aware of who I am. Um, yeah, I think does that answer? I hope it does a little bit, but
Yeah,
much more to be discovered for sure.
yeah, yeah. And again, as I said, that's only a brief outline of your journey, because
Mm,
um, going back to being a family, a large family, as they are in Ireland many years ago,
yeah,
it's large now, but losing a sibling, I also lost my sister as you had lost your brother.
yeah,
And that feeling of, someone being unwell and that they may, transition from this world, you're aware of it, but not aware of
yeah,
it as a child.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they passed. Now, I was older than you when my sister passed, but it was still, and we went back when we were talking before the podcast, is like the why. Well, why did she have to suffer? And why did she have to pass away? And why?
Mm,
And again, I suppose through that loss, just as you with your brother's loss, it did open up something within us. I think that awareness of, as you said, that they are very much still with us, but in a very different way energetically.
yeah,
And we still have to deal with the grief and the loss physically, but it opens us up to an awareness of, well, where are they now? How can I connect with them now? You know, is this my
yeah. Very
imagination?
true.
Can I feel them? Are they really
Mm,
in my dreams? And what I loved, when you said you have met your brother and you've seen him in meditations and in dreams, my
mm,
sister was one of the first people that really brought me safely and trusting into the healing and the spiritual work. And
oh,
she
lovely.
handed me a golden key and said she was going to help me unlock what was already there, but I had locked away because of we're born here as the humans and we're
Yeah,
forgetful of where we came from. But let's go back to you and that journey of your brother, even in his transitioning and being so young. What was your understanding of it, or did you have an understanding of it at the time, Patrick?
Uh, I knew he was unwell. I mean, I was going on holidays during school time, so
Mm.
then I think when you look back now, I wasn't fully aware because I was going to my cousin's house, and it was nice times. Um, but yeah, I think towards the end of my brother's time here, I became very aware actually. I don't think I've shared this with my parents. If I have, it's been a while if I have. So the past of my brother, I knew that night myself as a 10-year-old. So I seen him with Jesus, and I knew he had passed. And even now, like it's on 43 years on and 42 years on, and I'm so get really emotional as if it was yesterday. Yeah, it was. I think, I mean, as a 10-year-old child, I was certainly well protected. Um, and it took me a while to, and I say this with beautiful kindness, that the forgiveness that I needed to give to myself, but also to my family. Um, I wish I had more time. And I know for certain they would say exactly the same thing. You never know how much time you have. So, like, I have a very personal moment with my brother before he passed in the hospital that's in my heart, and that's lovely. Um, and then after the passing of my brother, um, I felt I grew up a lot quicker than I may have wished, and that's nobody's fault whatsoever. It's just the grieving process for everybody, especially my parents, because they had two other CF children that they had to look after, plus two other boys that were needing. So they had to be mom and dad all the time, even the next couple hours after that. So I don't think I fully appreciated that till I became an adult myself. You know, I do now, and I'm so grateful for that. But that experience now um, that's why I said at the start when you introduced me, said from my head to my heart. Everything from my life really aligned me to understand what has happened to me, why ask like trying to find out the why of everything experience and not to take it personal. That was the key. And then when you go into your heart, you don't become personal with it. You get the understanding, the forgiveness, the compassion for it. And I will say this as well, it's taken me a long time. It's not been an overnight. It has been a life experience that self of having that forgiveness and compassion, not only with my family, but with God as well. Take my big brother away. He's my hero. Like he was my hero all the way up. But saying, he's like one of my mentors now in spirit. Like, he can't get away with anything. If I try and cut a corner and something, he knows rightly. So there's that to it as well. And if I can share my experiences of where I come from my heart to help my family as well in a different context that they see me in. They don't really see this side of me. They're aware of it for sure, but I think they tiptoe into the water and see if it's cold or warm, and then they get back out again. They don't want to get too fully wet, so I'm fully in there, and like as you know, people know me, I have full trust in everything that's the experiences that I have gone through. And I'm so blessed for that, Sharon, because I have that understanding now that many that have gone through don't. And it is a huge lesson for me. And I again need to remind myself of that I can go there and see that aspect of me as well. But it has not. been an easy process, and I do feel all the spiritual work that, especially after my transplant, I got another level up. Like, so things definitely transformed quickly after that. Maybe there's another fire horse on me. I don't know what the story was then, but I definitely moved. I know 2012 was is an important year of the ascension. So, and I had my transplant on All Souls Day, 2nd November. So, and you look back in it in time, you know, says, wow, you know. So I feel even my spiritual journey is to help people understand that you're more than you really think you are. And when you go into your heart and understand how big your heart is, it's so much bigger than what's in your chest, that everything's like phenomenally amazing that you can tap into. And yes, you have, as we said, you have to go back into human life, and you have to go to work, and you have to, you know, do your daily things. But um, there is help out there from the guides that you can help, and especially when you have people in spirit aligned to you. Um, and I wasn't always good, even as Patrick, to ask for help. Sharon, I really wasn't, because I was such a stubborn person. So now I can figure this out myself. And I guess I had a lot of adults around me as a child that I was leaning on. So they were, as much as I was around children in primary school and everything else, great, but I was always leaning on an adult a lot quicker than a child could, because they were always around me in the hospital. So sometimes I hadn't really had a cheat sheet that I could lean on and feel safe in that, when really it wasn't really, it was putting me in cotton wool. And then when it had to come into a certain time in my life, I wasn't fully prepared until I actually left my home in Donegal, where I had to truly defend for myself, which was
A new
a great
experience.
experience. So yeah, they were good times.
Yeah. So
But
going out, and leaving home after having all that support, and I suppose
mm,
with your family as well, there was probably a lot of fear because your younger or your brother had passed away when you were
mm,
so young, and that fear of what if anything happens to Patrick was probably, prevalent in their life every day. But having that support, and even though you felt like you were wrapped in cotton wool, it was the way they could help you best, being there
yeah.
for you. But then again, that jump from leaving home to, going out on your own, what did you find the hardest about it, Patrick?
Um, I think sharing everything I was going through was the hardest part. Sharing it back to my parents and family. Like even my younger brothers just call me cautious Patrick. So we're going like, yeah, you kind of, I let them think that, but I wasn't that cautious, to be fair.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think sharing my experiences with them, like I remember graduating from uni, and even my lecturer said it to me coming back down. He says, "By God, you were really straight going up there." And he was really wide out, and I was like, I was really going to enjoy this moment. And yeah, like that was my first. It was like diploma at the time. It wasn't a degree, and I was just so chuffed to achieve that, you know. And then like I went abroad and did work experience in America. I think they were just really beautiful achievements. So when I went to America, I really spread my wings there, because yeah, the time difference is 6 hours that I never had before in my life. I was in a completely different country. I couldn't go walk down the corner and go to my parents' house because that wasn't available. So to have a phone call every couple of weeks was less like, what do I tell them? So going like, I need to, you know, just show them the butter and the bread, but don't show them what else you've been up to.
Mm.
But I think with every parent is that once they realize you're actually on the other end of the phone saying hello, they know you're okay. So that was coming back from that. But I think even going through uni, they always said, you know, just look after you, so you'll be fine, and that spurred me on even more, Sharon, because they, in some ways, said, you're going to be okay even if you don't achieve this. And I said, that was like petrol to me. I said, right, I'm going to achieve this now. I says, they don't think I can achieve this really. So I says, right, I'm going to go and do this. And yeah, so I think they probably knew deep down, it's right. This is how Patrick works. So we need to poke the stick a little bit and get him moving.
And the stubbornness came out, Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I got it from one of those two. So between the combination of both of them, the, we look back now, the conversations that we would have now would be a lot deeper. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure if it's in my own parents back in those days, um, they wouldn't tell half the stories either. So so it's all good. But yeah, I think as well, and I'm very grateful for this, Sharon. I always wanted to fit. I didn't want to be anything different than anyone else. It was very, very important to me that I fitted in with everybody else, and I do grateful for my parents for that, because in the CF world back in the 70s, you weren't meant to have a dairy diet. And my father's a retired microbiologist. Um, so a block of cheese was a different block of cheese to him. So
Yeah.
he really understood it. And like he said, they both said that whatever diet you're having, Patrick, you're having the same one as everybody else on the table, and you can cope with what you can, and we'll help you out. And that really stood to me. I don't think I would have had the physical strength to have my transplant, bone density, and everything else before that if I had lived the diet that was required at that time. So I'm grateful for that. So yeah, I think yeah. The most important thing is to say, Sharon, is that it wasn't anything different than anybody else, and that's very important for me. Other brothers, I mean, even to this day, we haven't had full conversations to how it really affected them, because to have three brothers with CF, and then they have to live their own life as well. So it definitely was a different family dynamic. That I mean, they have their own families now. So it really is a conversation we really should have, and but at the same time, the LC patch is not needed because we're all good. But it's just, it would be a nice conversation to actually see how they feel as well. But like I know, like if I met them today or tomorrow or tonight, everything's hunky dory. But that deep conversation is the actually how, like they definitely didn't wrap me up in cotton wool. I got the kick in the back of the arse when I needed it from them too. So so I was always small brother, big brother. You know what I mean? So I was small. It didn't take them long to go over my head. They're pretty tall boys.
Yeah. And I think that's the lovely thing about families is, where no matter what is going on, your siblings are going to be your siblings and they're
Yeah,
going to be rough
exactly.
and tumble. And I love that you felt that in your family, that they didn't treat
Mm,
you differently and that you wanted to fit in the family and, with friends and going to college and all of that thing. All of those experiences are great foundations for any young person when
yeah,
they are going through anything physical issue, whatever it is. It's that experience, isn't it, being out by yourself and even traveling to America, Patrick? I mean, wow, you can nearly feel the excitement of wow, look at all these new
uh,
things I'm experiencing in my life. And who
yeah,
would have thought it was possible for me maybe years ago when my brother had passed? But I love
mm,
the fact that you said every day that you were living an experience that your brother never got to achieve.
yeah,
It's a beautiful way to honor our loved ones, especially when they pass so young. Because I would have felt that with my sister. I would have felt like she's seeing the world through my eyes now,
yeah,
and it wasn't always happy and beautiful. It was the sadness, the grief, the challenges
yeah,
that she never got the opportunity to experience. Again, when we come back to the why, it was like that was her soul's journey on this earth, and that's something that I have made peace with within myself, and know that wasn't I just so blessed to have her for 28 years in my life.
Wow.
you
Beautiful.
know, and I
Yeah.
think like that with your brother, you knew
Yeah.
him, you know, for that many years, and
Yeah.
it's still connected to you in such a beautiful way that you feel so strongly. But
Yeah.
that is a gift that many people would love, but they're unsure of how to open up to that awareness. And for me,
Mm.
it's simply sometimes just stopping, thinking of them, and asking from your heart, you know, are you there? And feeling it,
Yeah.
and feeling it,
Yeah.
because it's the feeling of everything, isn't it, Patrick, that really
Yeah.
is that vital life force energy within us. And when we connect to it with another person, it's like they're there. They're right there
Yeah.
beside you.
Exactly. No, it's even in a one way, it's a really, it's a stronger relationship that I would have now. Especially, so I'll share this little bit. So, um, so I was given a reading a few years ago, many years ago, probably 10 or 15 years ago, that my brother was with my grandparents in spirit, and that they were looking after him. And um, so they were my father's parents, and I had always found them extremely funny as a child. I God, these two are cracked. So, and they haven't really changed in spirit. They're exactly the same thing. And like they were showing, Granddad was showing like this thing where you're separating fingers. Like he's still doing that, and like, he still sees me as a kid.
Yeah.
But it is a beautiful, and it's an experience, and a lovely experience that I have with them. So I've I'm not a good dancer, Sharon. I really, if I'm going to any event where you have to dance, I will shrink in the corner. Like I'll try and go invisible if I can. So my grandparents were very good waltzers, and in those days, even my parents, they went to ballrooms for dancing. That's how people met. Um, so for one evening or another, and I'm sure, I don't know, thank God, I don't know if anyone's seen me, but I was going around my kitchen like this. My granny was holding me and was walking or waltzing around the kitchen. And that experience, like, it's just so beautiful. And then sometimes we can go to a beach that she taught me how to swim. Well, I say sea swimming. So the waves were very quite strong and strong and aggressive in Unhinch in West Cork, then Clonakilty. And Granny used to go swimming every day in the summer anyway. And so she taught myself and boys how to swim into the wave and be safe and come back out again. No doubt my mother was watching her like a hawk, but but it was that that relationship really stuck out when I went into the spiritual world. Could have these conversations on the beach and walking and yeah, and like it is lovely that I don't know, go over my head a little bit here. The time doesn't exist in Spurs because everything's all in one. And so I was able to share, they shared their wedding day song with me and the song they were dancing on the beach. And like, you know, yeah, it's just these beautiful experiences that I'm able to tap into. And one day I'll share this with my parents. I think it'd be very emotional for my father to. I mean, he's going to hear this, so he'll probably hear it now. I need to get them before this, but it is a lovely experience. And my granddad's one of his favorite songs is Matchsticks. Matchsticks is called. It's
Yes,
like, oh
matchsticks,
yeah,
pen and matchstick. Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Yeah, so they have a great of putting a song in front of me, and next man is I'm playing it, and then he's just I feel his energy right beside me. And as people know me, Sharon, I do talk, so it's something you're gonna have to put a gobstopper on me to stop. But I think it's really important for me to share my experiences of that, to be fully open from the heart, that you can have the same experience and not to be fearful. I mean, well, my spiritual experiences, I mean, they're not going to come in and grab you by the ear and shake you around the place. They're going to be loving and gentle with you, and they'll know who you are. They'll actually know who your soul is as well. That's something that people forget. They're able to see the heart and the soul within yourself before they see you as Patrick. And it's that energy that comes in that really is a delight. Um, and that's why I have no real fear of sharing it. And it is because I just fully believe and I fully trust in that energy and that experience. But I didn't always have that, Sharon. I think my why after my transplant, I through I was so dependent on other people, Sharon, before my transplant, and much respect to my estranged wife and family at that time. They really, really did look after me, support me. I don't forget that. But I because I've grown up to become the quick in my life, I became so independent in who I am because there were 6 years between me and Brendan, second eldest. So 6 years as a 10-year-old, see, I mean, what, four? Like there is no, you're not going to be talking about football, you know. So there is that kind of gap there a little bit. Where am I going with this now? Is that I've lost my train of thought, Sharon.
You're all right. It was, you were
uh,
saying that it was that spiritual world, the connection, it wasn't always like that.
yeah, thank you, Sharon. Yeah, so I had to find out my why after my transplant. When things started happening in personal life um, that I struggled with, and I went looking for help. And I went to the Rosary, Sharon. That's where I found my strength, and I have a huge connection with Mother Mary till this day. Um, like she really is my rock. Really, she truly, truly is. And through the Rosary, as I was crying, seeing the rosy going for my walks and getting the strength from that. I didn't realize at the time I was given the strength of it to keep going every day. I was using it to get me to sleep. You know, that's what I was using it for. Just, go for my walks, say the rosary and get some peace in my mind and go to sleep so I can get to sleep and then another day you go on. So yeah, it was really tough going. But as I went on in my life a little bit after that, things started happening to me. And I think it'll link it back to the rosary. So against Mother Mary's right, we need to tweak his heart a little bit here and move a little of the spiritual awareness more into him. And so since things started happening for me that I couldn't understand, like so I was becoming more aware of things. I was able to feel things a lot stronger. And this is through COVID time. So I, being Patrick, had to find out, okay, what's going on here? I says, I'm losing the plot. And I went for this beautiful healing called Reiki Distant Healing, Sharon, and I had no idea what it was. All I knew was the lady that I went to, her name's Karen Tinney, an amazing spiritual artist, teacher, and spiritual healer. She's an amazing lady in London. And she lived in her family are in Letterkenny, Donegal. So I was closing down my social media at that time, and I felt my brother says, "No, look at that." And I looked at Karen and says, I know her. So I felt the trust there. It's okay. She was saying she was from Donegal and she's doing this distant healing, and I signed up for it, Sharon, not knowing what I was signing up for, to be honest.
Mm.
Um, and it changed my life. That was the catalyst of my spiritual awakening. Was that healing? I cried for 3 hours after. I couldn't stop crying. I had to go for a food shop. I couldn't stop crying in the shop, and I said, I never felt my heart shake as much as that. Um, I'm getting quite emotional now from it because everything I've done right up to that moment, all the healing I've done, all the modalities I'm tuned to, all that I share, and if I leave this behind me on this earth, is to understand the love within yourself is so, so important. I had not realized, and no disrespect to my family or anyone in my life at that time, or even up to this day, I didn't understand how to love myself, Sharon. I really didn't. I didn't really truly love myself until I felt it from the divine of that unconditional love. And yes, I did receive, of course, I received love from my parents and everyone around me. But that depth of love to actually love myself, when someone comes and says, as a child or as a teenager, that they love you and you're going through some difficult times in your life, you don't always listen to it because you're still in the midst of a fog or a storm that you have to get up and get on with. And that's your case. That's great, mom and dad. I'll put this in my back pocket, but I still need to walk through this. So can you give me a bit of space so I can walk through this and I'll see you on the other side? So I'm sure that was really difficult for my parents to take that because I'm sure that they can say many stories about that and other people that know me as well. But this awakening that I have received as a gift is that understanding of everything that I see with spirit is you have to, okay, love yourself, expand your heart, and we can work and allow things to come through your heart. And it's a completely different perspective of what you see in life. And I'm no saint, Sharon. I still have to remind myself of that, and sometimes on a daily basis, that, you know, it's all about being in your heart and being love. And yes, of course, it's not easy because look at the world we're in today. It's one hell of a jigsaw upside down that takes a lot of people time and patience to turn up the right way and says, okay, so what I work with myself is that, and I'm not saying this in a selfish way, it says, okay, if I look after myself and my heart and put love into me, then what I express from me gives love to other people, to other animals, to plants, to like it's just phenomenal. I share that I do go over and back, Sharon, so I do apologize. So yesterday I went for a beautiful walk in Knockma in Tuam. I'm using Knockma to exercise. I really want to. My goal is to go and compete for Ireland in Transplant Games, whether it be this year or next year. That's my goal. But I do small steps. I want to climb up. Um, God, there's a mountain peak in Connemara where people are saying it's on their heads now. Anyway, there's all these steps going up this kind of hill mountain in Connemara.
Diamond Hill, is it?
Diamond Hill. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. So I did that a couple of years ago, and I really struggled. And I was with this beautiful hiking group who were very experienced, and I was the Paddy last going up the hill. And I was telling some girl that was running the show that I had a double lung transplant. She nearly fell down the mountain. He says, "What are you doing up here?" Like, says, "Well," it says my legs are fine, my lungs are great. It says, "Just need to get time." So I want to go back and do that this year, fully fit, and I think I did it in fully up and down 2.5 hours. So I want to beat that. And now that's phenomenal. But that's why I'm going up Knockmad. But the energies from Knockmad, I don't know if you've been, Sharon, there's huge fairy energies and some seriously spiritual energy there. And the mind the walk definitely tests you too. It's quite hilly. But yesterday, so anytime I go into a forest and meadow now, I always say hello. So thank you for welcoming me into your home because they're home to the birds, the plants, the trees, and the rocks, everything that's there. And fairy folk who I know quite well, so yesterday, and I normally go when I go left because I like to challenge. Everyone goes right, and I says, no, I'm going to go left because that's harder. So I want to go, and then I'll get fitter, stronger, faster. So I was taking a shortcut. People think I was taking the harder, I was taking a shortcut really because I wanted to get fitter, faster. Anyway, so yesterday I was guided to go right, and I met a lovely lady that I knew before going up, and I wouldn't have had that conversation if I went left.
Mm.
And then on the way down, Sharon, so there is a kind of a memorial thing for a child on a fairy tree that's connected to the fairies. I won't mention the lady's girl's name because it's quite private to that family. But I was drawn to that beautiful energy. I'd been before, but yesterday was really, really special. It was like I really felt her energy and the blessing and bringing Mother Mary's blessings and I could feel the energy of Mother Mary expanding her energy throughout the whole of the land
Mm.
and with the fairies as well. It really was. And I think, and you know this yourself, Sharon, the beautiful work you do. and it's like your little piece of your gypsy connects into that little piece, and once that your heart connects into that, then they can expand that energy of love through you or all around in a human spiritual way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't
It's a
like the fairies do amazing work, but they do extra work when they can work with people like ourselves and connect in because they're using the physical energy to move it within the physical realm, if that makes sense. Yeah. So
Patrick, it definitely does. And thank you for sharing so much of that. It's so beautiful. I could just sit and listen. But it is, everything you said is so true. Learning to love ourselves and accept ourselves is probably the hardest journey, no matter what kind of a life we've had, good, bad, or
yeah,
indifferent. Learning to love and accept ourselves as we are allows us to realize that this human experience is always going to offer us challenges in some shape or form.
yeah,
But that love and acceptance of ourselves is a priority for us, and it's probably the hardest thing most people face. But I love the fact that when you and Knockma's not far away from me at all, Patrick, and as you said, I still feel challenged every time I climb it, but I love the peace, the energy, everything about it is a place that I would have cried as I walked it, the place I would have sang, I would have chatted with friends, I might have been ranting about something, but it's a place that always just, I always say that about nature, it holds space for us to be as we are. And it never
mhm,
judges or criticizes us, it just allows us. But that
mhm,
connection to, that little memorial and feeling that in your heart. And it's so true that when we allow love into ourselves, only then can we share that love with others. And it's the old, going back to the old saying, you can't pour from the empty cup, that
yeah,
we have to fill our own cup up. And the same goes for our heart, because it is such a powerful energy, our beautiful heart. So full of so many beautiful things that I always say it's like a universe within us. If we traveled within it, it would bring us so many places, Patrick. Yeah.
that's brilliant. Yeah, no, it is. And as I say, it's not always easy to translate and understand. It really truly isn't. And we still, including myself, go through a lot of hard times. But in the stillness of it, and I'm so blessed that I have the Rouhani celestial healing and shamanic healing to lean on and to help me heal as well. So I think that everything that I'm aligned to is helped me heal at a deeper level.
Mm,
So at the moment, I'm doing a water series course with beautiful Melanie and Paul O'Halloran, and they're amazing, amazing souls, people, amazing teachers. And I've gone to another level of depth of healing again, again of love and forgiveness and compassion that um, it has me like it's hard to explain. So it's like a rose. When you see a rose and you see so many layers of a rose and like flowing around, you see like when people see a rose, they just see the beauty of the color, but actually the texture of each petal. So what I'm really feeling through, and I'm a Piscean, so really feel every emotion, is that every petal has its own story, and then you go deeper and deeper into it. You're going deeper into your soul, and
mm,
that depth of healing of this lifetime or other lifetimes, but also for your ancestors.
mm,
Um, it is a different understanding that I'm coming to understand, and that's yeah, I'm so grateful, Sharon, that I don't have any problem crying because I think I've cried so much over this work. Because and I go into spirit, like I just know and just like I have tissues beside me all the time because I'm just going to be, and it is the emotion, and it actually is good. And I say this to any man that sees this, it's okay to cry. It
mm,
really truly is. And a lot of people think it's not. There's a weakness. In my opinion, it's a huge, huge strength. It really is. Because it allows your emotion to flow and it is a release. And um, So I'll share this. I'm sure you know about this already, Sharon. So when you cry, your guardian angel collects the beautiful drops of your tears and allows it to flow with love into the universe. So there's like little droplets of love flowing from you into the atmosphere. Um, and it is really divine. So nothing is wasted. Nothing's ever, everything is always, you're transforming everything. Nothing like goes, how to say it, you can't, you think yeah, everything transforms itself. Like energy moves all the time, energy changes all the time. So that's where it's a really kind of, and it's hard to understand and see it, but I'm just blessed that I see that. I mean, my imagination with spirit is off the Richter scale, and I think that's why the fairies and the dragons and all the angels, my journeys are phenomenal. And sometimes with Paul and Mel, I find it really hard to come back. It really is. Oh, I want to stay here, and like just another kick in the arse, Sharon, back down again. So,
And you know
but
what that is,
yeah,
Patrick? It's I love that, and I often say to my groups and clients and the members community, I'd say you can't be away with the fairies, as our parents
yeah,
used to say years ago. You have to come back to reality. And people would say,
mm,
well, it's so much nicer in the meditation, or Sharon, when you were working on me, I wanted to stay in that place of calm and
mm,
love. And I said, but there is the challenge or the learning is to bring it back with you and bring it into your human experience. And as you said, to share it with others,
yeah,
whatever form. Not everyone will be therapists or practitioners or
no,
channels, but it could be with their friend, partner, community, with, somebody, a
yeah,
stranger on the street, that there is no bounds and limits to the love we can share, even if it's only a word, even if it's only a feeling. And I'm smiling because as I'm sitting here with you, spirits are all around. They love to dance with silver threads around me when we work
wow,
on this level, and I can see them everywhere.
for
And that's a celebration to me that they're celebrating our conversation, Patrick. They're celebrating us as souls being in these human bodies, even
yeah,
though it wasn't always pleasant, but
no,
that we moved through it and that we're able to speak about our experiences with love and
yeah,
gratitude. And even you speaking about your parents, that
mm,
everything they gave you was the love they wanted to give you and to protect you. But there was a part of you that needed to experience something different also for yourself. And
yeah,
that never take away from the love you received and care you received from them. But
yeah,
sometimes this journey has to be done inside ourselves.
yeah, definitely, Sharon. I definitely concur with that. That um, my relationship with my family, I wasn't always perfect. It really wasn't. It was very difficult for me at times. But I think of it, I thank God I have the wisdom now. I didn't always have that. Is to have that understanding as to where it actually came from. I think only from Mother Mary, her teachings and through all the spiritual work that I do, it has taught me to have the compassion and the understanding of that experience. I don't think I would be the peaceful spiritual warrior today if things had been different. To have those experiences, Um, so yeah, it is. It's definitely, people that speak to me, Patrick, you need to share your story. And at the same time, I like to be normal. So my story is, there's so many people like me out there that have had transplants and done this X, Y, and Z. But I do understand you have to, help and share your story. As I said, if it can help one person, then that's fantastic. Well, I'll just share a little bit. So, a couple of years ago, I was through Karen Tinney, who gave me the healing. Um, I leaned on her quite a lot for 6 months. I did a lot more healings, and she helped me get my why and align with that. But Karen is amazing and channeler and medium, and they were doing this work on YouTube. They were meeting up every Tuesday called it's called Ask the Masters today, but it was called Ascension Channelers then, and where they would channel with spirit and So they would ask a question of spirits as to what kind of question we would say here now. Is the okay? So we'll just say why do we experience all the difficult times in the world? Like why is there war? You know?
Mm.
And so this question we brought out to the group, and then their own channel communicators would help answer this question in their own way through whoever it was channel. So I was learning from this every Saturday. I get the the update every Saturday morning. I was going to school with this thing, and I was like, oh my God, all the different guys will come for. I had no idea who they were, Sharon, no idea. I know today a little bit, but then I had no idea. So I was learning all the time, and I was always confident. Gratitude to the group was, wow, this is amazing. They didn't know who Patrick was, and then the co-host asked, well, who is this lad that keeps commenting all
Yeah.
the time? And then Karen said, oh, that's Patrick. I've done some work around him. I know him. So it's right. We need to invite him as a guest. And that was a couple of years ago. And that day I said, Patrick, you can channel. This is all this. I had no idea what channel was. And I channeled a little bit. And it really was. And the reason I'm coming to this is that I was in my way a lot of my time. And they taught me how to get out of my way. And then my pure soul team came forward and spoke through me, channeled through me. Um, and I have them, Lindsley Cash and Anne Marie Spittle and all that group are amazing. They have taught me so much, and so has Spirit taught me so much. So you may know this that there is a kind of, I'll call it a university of spirits called the Halls of Learning. And it's actually a little trick for anybody watching this. So say if you're okay, so Morgana's just showing me knitting here. So if somebody wants to learn how to knit, set that intention for your sleep. Please help me teach myself how to become a better at knitting. So then in your sleep, you go to the halls of learning, you go to a knitting class in your sleep.
Yeah.
So then you wake up the next morning, you mightn't be a professor at knitting, but you'll be a little bit better. So you can keep going to these classes in your sleep states, so you're getting somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
For me, I need to be a better baker, so I must go and ask how to bake things. I always burn things when I bake. But it's that knowledge that has come to me through spirit as well. And then my own channel communicators have come in, they're very strong now today, or I can just tune in and channel. And that has been my learning as well, Sharon, to allow me to share different experiences of the higher realms of light and all the healing of them and their communication of that. Um, yeah, and it's a different perspective as well as to how they see humanity and how they want humanity to evolve. And yeah, it is like this is the first time ever that like there has been many ascensions on Earth, but never has there been humanity hasn't always been here for those ascensions. So now that we're actually experiencing this, and a huge honor, really think about it, that we're actually evolving with the planet and Lady Gaia. It's just like that's why in energy of oneness that people talk about. It really is. So what you feel, what you love, and you give love to the bird, or the here tree, they give the same back. This is actually what I was taught before, Sharon's shamanic world, is that the birds sing first, and then they wake up the flowers, and the flowers then come out with the sun, and then they share their love to everyone else. And they're all interconnected. It's like an orchestra of nature, and Lady Gaia is the what the co-hosted orchestra, orchestrating everything else. But if you actually think about it, she's actually orchestrating us as well. And a little bit, if we tune in, then we can actually become part of that beautiful musical, you know. And it is a different. You definitely have a different walk in nature if you walk with me. So it's but it's again, it's gratitude for everything that I've aligned to, and you never stop learning. That's the beauty of this, you know. It is the lovely thing about it. It keeps me going, Sharon. I don't think if everything was like, you learned enough now, Patrick, off you go. Oh God, I'd be lost. I wouldn't.
Mm.
You know, I don't want to be known as this guy that thinks he knows it all, because I certainly do not. There's no chance. Like every day's so different. I tap into what I know to help me grind outside my feet, use Rahani to open my heart, and like even before I came on to see this morning, Sharon, with yourself, I was in about an hour ago, so I had to do a bit of Rahani healing to calm me down. And this is, guys, you need to give me an extra boost here to,
Mm.
calm me down and speak. As a Donegal man, I'm sure people who see this in the north, that it's like Cork. I was going to get a strong accent either way, Sharon, because
You
my
are.
parents are Cork. So I was going to speak fast no matter what. But I was like, you have to speak slower now today, Patrick, so people can understand. And the reason I say this, Sharon, because I'm in this channel group now 3 or 4 years. I still have to send them a recording because some of them don't understand what I'm saying when I channel because I speak so fast. So then they get the read up and they say, "Oh, that's what he said." And that's gonna, so you might have to send this one. So
Oh no, you're brilliant. Well, I can understand you clearly,
thank you.
and I think really what you're saying in everything is, again, we said the word awareness and love and connection, and that nature obviously always is the doorway for me in this human experience to be aware of that. And just as you said, with the birds and the flowers and the trees, it's to be part of that universal orchestra, knowing that we are all connected and that we're connected to every single person, even if we feel like they're not very nice, they're doing this and that and the other, that we all are souls on this planet on our
Yeah,
on our own journey. And and I always say that behind every physical body there is a beautiful soul that came to this world to experience,
yeah,
life, the challenges, the adversities, sometimes being judged for who they are in this physical world. But that when we all return to spirit world, it's a reunion and going, oh, I forgot to forgive you when I was in my human form. I know that was the goal when we left soul and went to the earth as the human, but I forgot because I got caught up in the bitterness and the hatred,
yeah.
all of that. So that keeps me grounded, Patrick,
Lovely.
in a way. And that's why I said I love chatting to you and all my guests, and whatever their background, whatever it is that they believe in their heart, I honor it because I don't have to believe in everything everyone believes in, but the listening, and that's what it is for me,
Yes.
the listening to another person's story is such a beautiful gift that we can give to each other freely. And it's to stop
Yeah.
focusing on, what I need to do and where I need to be and just be present more. And that's what nature is teaching us, just to be present.
Massively.
And we'll grow naturally anyway, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that, Sharon. Yeah, you're such a beautiful gift, Sharon. I think that really is to be able to align people's lives and share that is again is a massive gift. Really, really is, and I for one am very grateful for that. Um, but yeah, I think even like this bad storm that Galway had, what, last January, it's like so the woods that I walk in, it's got an absolute hammering here in Athenry. But before, and I used to walk there a lot. Still walk there a lot. I said there was a different energy about it before that storm. They always know beforehand, and I give it much heeding today, and so I have a few trees there that I connect with all the time. And there's one tree that I use for shamanic work in there, David, and I can't get near him because the trees are just there's no access there anymore. But I connect in spiritually to him. The energy is still as strong as ever. But it is, they always seem to know beforehand. And even now, when you get the weather, yeah, the birds have gone day beforehand before it actually happens. Right, they've gone inwards and getting ready. So
Yeah.
I think I need to learn from them a bit more than I do myself. But yeah, I think the reason I did the shamanic work, Sharon, was because I had to grind myself a lot more and help me understand everything. Like all the spiritual work can be angelic and celestial, um, and to help ground myself with the nature and be more holistically human way, is the shamanic world really taught me that. Yeah, and to get the earth healings that we do through Anne Marie and all that is just massively me see the world in a different place, you know. So the only way I can see Mother Earth, as I call her Lady Gaia, is I see her in a green or birth earth or an earth dress, and I just see her as a human being, and we have conversations. And she always calls her my little child, and just go on journeys that way. And it really is a relationship that where she can like walk to. So when I was in Australia, 2023. I was told before I was going to Australia, and I was going through skin cancer at the time, and I said, "There's no hope I can duck and dive this one because the doctors aren't going to sign me off on this." So anyway, I was told, "Yeah, you're going to Australia." I said, "Okay, let's see where we're going." End up going to Australia anyway, and I stayed. My brother lives in Melbourne. His beautiful wife Amy and his son Ned, and we had a great 6 weeks there. Loved it. But they had their worst summer ever for quite some time, Sharon. It was 18 to 25 degrees. Now, that's a lovely, beautiful Irish summer. But for Australians, it's like, jumpers, hats, and scarves. And I was going around in shorts and t-shirts, and I was absolutely loving it and so grateful. I says, right, I can't get, like, you guys, you get the sun in Ireland's harder on your skin than the sun in Australia. So, I didn't get any sunburn whatsoever, and I was so looked after. But I went to the highlight of my second highlight of my holiday. Well, the first highlight was seeing my brother and the family. Second was going to Queensland and going to the Great Barrier Reef. And you had to raise out this insurance form, Sharon, in the boat that you're going out, and you had to say if you have any of these conditions. And I ticked off. I had about 8 of them. I says, "Oh my God!" I says, "They're not going to allow me out of the water whatsoever." I says, "I need to get somebody else's form and fill that in and come as Patricia." But anyway, so I just went, says, right, that bit there's me there. And says, "I've had a double lung transplant." And he says, "What?" And he says, "Right, I can swim." I says, "I'm decent enough swimmer." Well, I was. I didn't know till I got into the water. Really, I hadn't swum quite a while. But anyway, they give you a special jacket, a special life jacket. It's like, ooh, special. And they give you a guide or somebody to look after you so that you're fully their responsibility so that nothing happens to you. And I was going, "Oh, I can't have this. I need to go and show them that I can swim." And so I went in and give me a time of 1:30, and I went into the water around 1:10 past 1. I says, "Right, I'm going to swim a good bit here." And I said, the lifeguard to see me, and he could see me because I have this special jacket on. He says, "What are you doing in the water?" And I said, "I'm just going to swim over here." And then when I went with the guide, and he says, "Oh, he can swim." But my guide then said to me, "Pat, you're not here to talk the fish, you're actually here to put a heel into the water." I was so blessed with this, Sharon. So the beautiful guide, she was from Spain, and she was doing work experience in Australia. And she was a marine biologist, and she's doing all this type of work. And she was an amazing swimmer, and says, "Right," I said, "I'm going to show you now." I says, "You guys have got," there was 2 other ladies and myself, and since Brad says, "I'm going to bring you around to not to the big crowded areas, so I know where the bigger fish are, and I'm going to show you where they are." Oh my God, it was phenomenal. I loved it. And then she realized, "Okay, Patrick, you're an okay swimmer, so you can go off on your own, but I need to keep an eye on you for my own responsibility." And I said, "Great." And then my guys said, "Okay, Patrick, put your arms out and just focus on rainbow energy going into the water." And I did that little bit. And it felt like 10 minutes for me, but it was only like a couple of like 30 seconds a minute. But I seen the waters change, and just phenomenal. As I was saying thank you to my guys for that experience, 2 turtles came up beside me, a mother turtle and a baby turtle, and they caught me on camera. And the baby turtle nearly hit me in the head because they have divers under the water taking photographs to sell on. The divers seen this and started swimming back up towards me, and scared the little turtle a little bit, and he nearly came towards. So the turtles were basically looking straight at me. So it was phenomenal, like, you know. So I'll never forget that experience. That's definitely made. Yeah, and I think that's the reason why I'm doing the water series event with Paul and Melanie O'Halloran, that deeper understanding of the waters, because like we're so it's 78% water and around that 7% more, and like the earth is there's so much more water, there's more water than anything else.
Yeah.
So to align with that energy then is the deeper understanding for me, and then the universal energies of all the celestial galactic beings of the waters as well, that'll help humanity go to the oneness energy. And if I can be some kind of translator for that, then I'll be fantastic. They'll have to give me a script on a screen as well so people can understand what's Patrick saying. But yeah, and then you have to live the human life then on top of that, Sharon.
Well, I think you know what it is, and just listening to you, and as I said, I know you should write that book. You should write your story, Patrick. That's up to you when you do it. But it's through all of the human experience, through CF, losing your brother, double transplant, skin cancer. I feel such a beautiful balance with all of the joy and the learning and the wisdom and the awareness you have experienced, some because of it, and
Yeah,
others because you chose to open that doorway, open your heart and your mind to that beautiful spiritual connection that we all have.
yeah,
And you said that when we were chatting, people say it's a gift. It's a gift to be here, to be
yeah,
alive today in this moment, having this conversation. That is the gift of life. The awareness, as we spoke about, is opening up to what not is in the physical, because it's so much more than that.
yeah,
And for me, when we are working or living holistically, it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, all of that is intertwined as it is in the natural world for us as well. And again, sharing your story, Patrick, I think, again, I said this to my guest last week, another male is the more males that speak about their experiences and what has changed because of sometimes the adversity, but where they are now, what they've opened up to. And other people, men or women, may look at you and go, that's all pie in the sky. I don't believe any of it. And that is fine. I don't ever try to force what
no,
I believe in or what
yeah,
helps me. We just share the information. And I think what you're doing, because you're sharing your beautiful communications and you're channeling through all of your social media platforms and on TikTok, which is beautiful, because what you're doing is you're allowing people to witness it. They have a choice whether to stop, listen, press like or comment, or just to move on. That's what I say to people. If it doesn't interest you, just move on to whatever does. But it might spark
mm, mm,
somebody's attention, and they'll go, I've been feeling that. I've been feeling that presence or connection within my life. Oh, oh, oh. I might
yeah.
stay here and listen for another while to Patrick.
Yeah, it is. It is lovely to do that. At the time, it took me a while to share it really, because some of the even the conversations I have with the channel team and spirit, I'm going like, all right, how do I interpret this myself and communicate it out? So I'm always like, so I will work with the crystal. So I use a blue agate crystal, and the blue agate crystal helps open your throat chakra and helps, and then a masonite crystal helps your heart and your throat become as one and allows me to speak my truth, but also allows my channel communicators to flow in easier. And I'll always tell them, and they'll know, I always speak with clarity and speak as slow as you can,
Yeah.
and don't over elaborate on things, like, and just let it flow, because as you said, Sharon, as beautifully said, that everybody's interpretation of what one says can be different. and their feeling of it can activate something within themselves, a memory that sometimes can be difficult to digest at times. So I'm always very aware of that when I share that, it could be 30 seconds, it could be a few minutes, and the overall writing message of it could be just to go easy on yourself. And I may say it in a different way, but that's what I'm trying to say is that, go easy and don't be so hard on yourself. And that's really is what I'm trying to bring out in different ways. So for example, um, my mediumship gifts, they just come naturally. I go with the flow, so I'm not really like the swords and the coins and all that. I understand it a little bit, but I don't able to articulate it with the cards. So I just go with the spirits and say, okay, let's speak through me and see what brings up. For instance, a beautiful archangel called Archangel Israfel. She's delighted now. She's getting a lot of PR through me of late. So she's the archangel of music, and I really do feel in the times that are being tough for everybody that the one common thing that people are tuning into is sound and music, because whenever someone listens to a different type of music, they're getting something from it, and that's helping them release what they want to release or bring in joy what they want. And I only realized that because Archangel Israel said what we do, we create, and we create our own, saying the spiritual world, we create our own reality, and on what we feel, and what we feel really brings in forward to us. You're crappy, you're going through stuff, but if you don't feel it, you're holding it within yourself, and you're going, and it's holding in your physical body. So it is really important, whether it's hard to feel it, and then bring in the music to help soften that feeling, so that the feeling then can be rock and roll if you want it to be, or it can be a soul piano ballad and just go softly and waltz your way out. And that's what Archangel Israel showed me in one beautiful, just how she works with the energies of creativity, and that's with that. And I try and share that little bit, try and keep it as simple as I possibly can. And I have to say now, um, Archangel Israel is giving all the rest of the archangels a run for their money, because she's getting some serious exposure. So
Well, she, you will,
it is lovely.
you're the head of the PR company for her. And
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what you said again, even about music, and I always feel like that. And I'd say to people, music, again, a frequency, a vibration, and we all have our own frequency. And at times, our own
Mm,
frequency can be lower depending on how we are physically, mentally, emotionally. And that music is a way, another doorway that we open to listen and raise it, or to help us release emotions or anger, or, create
absolutely.
joy, whatever it is. So, yeah, there's so many ways. And I think, you're saying that the message is simple. It's simple but profound. And I think the
Yeah,
more you continue, Patrick, to share it in your way, the only way that you can do it is a beautiful gift to everybody else that gets to witness you sitting in that energy and allowing, spirit to work through you, to channel through you. Because one of the things I always say is, people say, it must be amazing, to work with spirit. And I said, to me, they're like my family. They're present, they're doing their own stuff, they're getting on, doing whatever
mm,
they need to do, but they're always there if I need them. And they will be there to teach and show me things sometimes that I don't understand, of why. They would go back to the why of this is happening. And again, as I said, it for me is that peace and recognition of knowing I'm not alone in this earthly experience. And
yeah.
that whenever I do return home to spirit, that there will be many of them waiting to welcome us back. And
Mm,
maybe, I hope that's not for a while now. I'd still like to experience more
yeah,
of the earth,
yeah.
Patrick. But one
Absolutely.
of the things I feel truly grateful for today is that I have connected with you on this earthly plane and that we have shared this beautiful conversation today, Patrick, and that someone or all of the people listening will have felt your beautiful energy and your truth and your honesty. So thank you so much, Patrick.
No, thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share my story. And I'm I'm just feeling so privileged and grateful for that. Yeah, and I say this to anyone who has received a donor or transplant, or anyone who gives a donor card, to say thank you. And I think that's my way of giving back. That I see this as an extra gift of having a second time of life here, and this is really why it's an absolute honor to give what I give forward, my gifts, um, to everything that I can do, and share that. And thank you for allowing me to express that, Sharon. It really means an awful lot to me. It really, really does. And yeah, you're just amazing, Sharon. What you do for not just Galway, but all of the universe and the world is just phenomenal. So, yeah, I think you're like the beautiful universal web that you connect into all around the world. You definitely have your own beautiful network out there. Yeah, it's just beautiful. So I'm really grateful to be part of your orchestra for one day. It's been fabulous. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Patrick. Yeah, beautiful conversation. And I feel such peace in this conversation, which is beautiful. You know, you said you were nervous coming on. I'm nervous for every conversation because it's technology, and I have to remind myself
Yeah,
I'm a podcast host, and I'm not just sitting across the table from Patrick having a cup of tea and going down a road, where we will talk about everything and anything and forget there's other people listening, that some people
mm,
aren't aware of that connection yet. They're not aware, or they may be still in a place of hurt or loss and sadness, and they find it hard. Then when people say there is such peace, and we're really grateful and blessed for the challenges even in our lives,
yeah,
but that we bring it back to simplicity, which I love. And it's just explaining how we feel, and in particular how you feel. And I love that you said that, after your double lung transplant, getting a second chance at life, that sometimes, and I've heard this from so many people, myself included, why did we have to wait till we were nearly leaving this world before we realized we were alive all along? And to live our lives
yeah.
every day fully alive, fully aware, fully present. But that does take practice and it's not always easy. But I think
No,
you're living proof of it all. So thank you, Patrick.
thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. An
So
honor.
if people would like to find out more about Patrick Dempsey, you can connect with him on Instagram on the Peaceful Spiritual Warrior, the same on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok. As I said to Patrick, he's all over the place with his beautiful videos. So if you do happen to see him and you're not sure what he's really talking about, just say hi anyway, because you're connecting in not just with Patrick, but with all of the beautiful energies that he's channeling as well. So there is only good in that, and that's what we want more of in the world. So if this is something that resonates with you or you find it fascinating and want to share it with one of your friends, share away. That's what it's for. We're creating ripples in the universe every day. So thank you to each and every one of you for listening. And until next time, take care of you.